Welcome to Trending Unpacked, the show that dives into what the world's been searching for and why it matters. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a serious, unfolding situation that has captured global attention and ignited intense discussion online.
We certainly are. We're going to unpack the incident surrounding Shane Devon Tamura, a name that's really blown up worldwide. It follows reports of a gunman incident in New York City. We'll meticulously examine the known facts, trace the rapid spread of information and, unfortunately, misinformation too, and explore what this entire episode reveals about our evolving relationship with news and truth in the digital age. It's quite a compelling look at how crises unfold in real time online.
Okay, let's get right into it then. This name, Shane Devon Tamura, it just exploded onto our feeds, seemingly out of nowhere, didn't it? One minute, nobody knows the name, the next, it's suddenly everywhere. And it's inextricably linked to this very serious situation. As someone who analyzes these trends, what's your immediate read on how a name just goes from zero to a global keyword like that? Hours. And what does that tell us about, well, our collective digital behavior during a crisis?
It's truly remarkable, the speed. How quickly a single name can become a global keyword, often way before we have any real understanding of who that person is or their actual role in an event.
Right.
This immediate public curiosity, this sort of human instinct to attach a face or a name to a developing crisis, it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I can see that.
Our brains are almost hardwired to process information through stories.
Yeah.
And a name, it provides that immediate anchor, doesn't it? That central figure in a narrative, even if it's totally unverified at that point.
Like a protagonist impulse.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. This protagonist impulse can be incredibly powerful, sometimes, frankly, dangerously so, in the early hours of a crisis. And we saw major outlets react immediately. The New York Times leading with the NYC subway shooting incident.
Yep.
And CNN specifically asking, who is Shane Devon Tamura?
Right there in the headline.
These initial media responses themselves highlight how rapidly the focus can just narrow onto one individual, even when the broader context is still incredibly fuzzy.
It's almost like a reflex, isn't it? For the news cycle and for people searching online, find that central figure. Help make sense of the chaos.
Absolutely. And what's truly fascinating here is precisely that immediate, almost primal search for a central figure. It speaks to a fundamental human need to understand, maybe to personalize events, especially tragic ones, by attaching them to an individual.
It's more than just curiosity then.
Oh, definitely. It's a cognitive shortcut, really. When you're faced with overwhelming chaos, our minds instinctively try to simplify, to find a focal point, something tangible to grasp onto. Now, our sources indicate that Tamura is believed to be connected to the incident.
Believed to be. Okay.
But the nature of that connection, and this is a critical point to emphasize, is still very much in flux. It's changing. He could be a suspect, maybe a person of interest, or even just a bystander who was simply caught up in something horrific.
Oh, those are vastly different roles.
Immensely different. And law enforcement, as we've seen from the early reports, they haven't released full details at this time, which leaves this crucial ambiguity hanging in the air.
And that ambiguity has consequences.
The profound difference these potential roles make to the public narrative cannot be overstated. I mean, imagine the seismic shift in public perception if Tamura is confirmed as the perpetrator.
Right.
Versus being, say, a heroic bystander who intervened. Or maybe just someone who happened to be present and got caught in the crossfire. Completely different stories.
And the lack of official clarity fuels speculation.
Instantly. It creates an immediate information vacuum. And that vacuum is almost instantaneously filled by speculation. People don't wait for verified facts. They start piecing together narratives based on scraps of information and often what they expect to be true or what fits a pre-existing mental framework.
Which can be dangerous.
Extremely. It can lead to rapid character assassination or, conversely, unwarranted lionization before any real facts are established. And this, in turn, can have lasting, irreversible impacts on an individual's life, regardless of their true involvement. It's a serious concern.
That's such an important point about the information vacuum and how quickly speculation rushes in. It makes you wonder then, with all this immediate focus on a name, what do we actually know about the incident itself? So beyond the human reaction to finding a central figure, what are the initial reports telling us about events on the ground? Where did this happen?
Okay, so what's consistent across multiple sources is that this incident took place at a Midtown Manhattan subway station.
Midtown Manhattan.
Okay, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, how breaking news propagates, the very first details that emerge and really resonate widely often involve the location and those initial reports of impact.
And that location is significant.
Hugely significant. A major urban transit hub, like a New York City subway station. It's not just a physical space, is it? It's a symbol.
Of daily life, commutes.
Exactly. Of crowded commutes, of public access, and importantly, perceived safety. So the immediate impact on public consciousness is immense because it touches on the anxieties many people hold about urban safety, especially in bustling, seemingly anonymous environments.
You think about the sheer number of people passing through daily.
Right, the potential for chaos, for mass panic, it feels enormous. And this contributes massively to that breaking news feel. It sends ripples of concern, even fear, far beyond just New York City itself. The location becomes part of the story, amplifying its perceived threat and urgency globally.
And the human element, of course, becomes central almost immediately. The mention of a gunman incident that naturally leads to questions about injuries, casualties. What are the early reports telling us on that front? And how do news outlets even navigate reporting that kind of sensitive information when details are so scarce?
Yeah, early reports, as our sources indicate, did indeed mention possible casualties or injuries. However, and we really can't stress this enough, full details are still very much emerging. This is a really delicate balance for news outlets in these early hours.
I can imagine.
They feel compelled, understandably, to provide what information they have to an information-hungry public. But at the same time, they have to stress the unconfirmed nature of those details.
That caveat is key.
It is, because the emotional weight of phrases like possible casualties is immense. It immediately raises the stakes from an abstract event to a human tragedy. It's what prompts that visceral reaction, fuels the immediate widespread sharing we see online.
Like the update source you mentioned.
Exactly. For instance, the Shane Devon Tamura NYC subway gunman incident update source specifically highlights these key points regarding casualties and the ongoing emergence of detail. It underscores that we are operating with incomplete provisional information. And this uncertainty, this lack of a full, clear picture, is precisely what makes these early hours so fraught.
Fraught for the public and for investigators, I assume?
Absolutely. They're trying to secure a chaotic scene, identify victims, gather evidence, piece together what happened, all while the world is watching and demanding answers. This inherent tension, between the public's desire for immediate answers and the investigative imperative for accuracy. That's a defining feature of modern breaking news.
So on one hand, we have this immediate visceral reaction to the location, potential casualties. On the other, a name, Shane Devon Tamura, swirling around with huge speculation about their role. This brings us to a crucial point. What exactly are law enforcement officials telling us? Are there any confirmed details coming out of official channels, or are we still largely in the dark?
Well, this is where it gets incredibly complex, and also where that fog of breaking news can be thickest. Our sources, including that update we just mentioned, clearly state that law enforcement has not released full details at this time.
Okay, so confirmation is scarce.
Very scarce. And this isn't just a lack of information. It's almost certainly a deliberate tactical decision. It's common in the early stages of a serious investigation like this.
Why hold back? What are the reasons?
Well, think about it. Law enforcement holds back details for several crucial reasons. First, obviously, to avoid jeopardizing the ongoing investigation itself. They don't want to tip off potential accomplices or allow suspects to tailor their stories based on what's being reported.
Makes sense.
Second, they need to confirm facts with absolute certainty before releasing them. Premature or inaccurate information can cause widespread panic or maybe lead to false alarms that divert critical resources.
Right, you don't want emergency services chasing ghosts.
Exactly. And third, they want to ensure they have a complete, accurate picture before informing the public. That's paramount for maintaining trust in the long run. So there's this constant, inherent tension between the public's immediate demand for every scrap of information and that investigative prudence, which rightly prioritizes accuracy and the integrity of the case.
It's a difficult tightrope walk for them. Every minute of silence probably feels like withholding information to some people.
It absolutely does. So in a high-stakes situation like this, the absence of official information can truly be as significant as its presence. It strongly implies a very active, very sensitive investigation is underway. They're gathering facts, securing the scene, identifying witnesses, pursuing leads, all before anything is publicly confirmed.
But this tight-lipped approach, while necessary, leaves a huge void.
It does.
And within that limited official communication, the core ambiguity around Shane Devon Tamura's alleged role just persists, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier the profound difference those potential roles make: suspect, person of interest, bystander. Can you elaborate on the real-world implications for an individual caught up in this kind of spotlight?
Oh, it's hard to overstate the difference. It's profound, both for the individual and for the public narrative that forms around them. If Tamura is indeed confirmed as a suspect, then the public's focus on his name is, well, in some sense, aligned with the investigative need to identify a perpetrator.
Okay.
But, and this is a huge but, if, for example, he is ultimately cleared, if he turns out to be maybe a heroic bystander who tried to help.
Or just someone who happened to be there.
Exactly, just someone in the wrong place at the wrong time. Then the initial rush to label him, to circulate his name in connection with the incident, that can have devastating, irreversible consequences.
We've seen that happen before.
Countless examples in past crises. Individuals misidentified, their lives completely upended by a wave of public judgment, digital vigilantism, only for them to be completely exonerated later. And the court of public opinion, fueled by incomplete information, it moves at light speed. And it rarely offers retractions that match the velocity of the initial accusation.
That's chilling. The reputational harm.
Immense. It underscores the ethical responsibility we all carry, when consuming and sharing breaking news, especially about individuals whose roles are not yet confirmed.
So outside of official statements, the slow trickle of confirmed facts, what about those on the ground? Eyewitnesses. What are we seeing there? Early speculation. It seems like a natural human tendency, doesn't it? Trying to make sense of chaos through the eyes of those who were there.
Exactly. When official details are scarce, eyewitness reports and early speculation inevitably rush in to fill that vacuum. It's almost like nature abhorring a vacuum, but with information. We've seen an explosion of alleged eyewitness footage and reports, especially across social media platforms.
What's the value and the danger of those?
Well, the power of these eyewitness accounts is their immediacy. They can provide raw, unfiltered glimpses of what's happening in real time. Sometimes they offer details that official channels simply can't or won't release right away, but alongside that power comes significant pitfalls. Eyewitness accounts are inherently subjective. They're filtered through individual perceptions, biases, the shock of the moment, the adrenaline.
Memory under stress is notoriously unreliable.
Incredibly unreliable. Accounts can be inaccurate, incomplete, or even misinterpreted. It's like that classic game of telephone effect, where a detail shared by one person gets twisted or exaggerated as it passes through multiple retellings. Yet these immediate, unfiltered reports often become the primary fodder for early social media narratives. They shape the initial public understanding long before any official confirmation is available.
Which leads us right to social media itself, the engine driving so much of this.
Precisely. The social media tsunami, as you called it earlier.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The moment a story like this breaks, social media becomes, well, it's both a primary source of information and, let's be honest, a crucible for chaos. What are we seeing in terms of viral spread, particularly on platforms like Twitter X, Reddit, TikTok, regarding the Shane Devon Tamura incident?
Our sources confirm it has indeed exploded.
Yeah.
Viral videos, alleged eyewitness footage, and critically, a significant amount of misinformation. It's a real mix.
And the hashtags are trending globally.
Absolutely. Hashtag Shane Devon Tamura, hashtag NYC subway, hashtag breaking news, hashtag gunman incident. They're dominating feeds everywhere. And the mechanics of viral spread differ slightly across these platforms, but the overall effect is a torrent of largely unverified content.
How does it differ, say, TikTok versus Twitter?
Well, on TikTok, you often get those raw, shaky, unedited video clips. They feel incredibly immediate and authentic, whether they actually are or not. That platform's algorithm prioritizes rapid engagement, short-form content, making it a powerful vehicle for quick emotional dissemination. Things spread like wildfire.
And Twitter X.
That becomes the hub for real-time updates. A rapid-fire mix.
Yeah.
Legitimate news alerts, frantic eyewitness accounts, unverified claims, rampant speculation, all jumbled together in a fast-moving, often overwhelming stream.
Like drinking from a fire hose.
Exactly. And then you have Reddit, offering a space for community discussion. Subreddits like our news quickly fill up with people trying to crowdsource information, analyze details, and unfortunately often spread unverified theories or engage in armchair detective work, which can be problematic.
The immediate, unfiltered nature of it all, it's unprecedented, really, and a double-edged sword, as you said.
What's absolutely fascinating and frankly concerning is the sheer velocity and volume of both information and misinformation that these platforms generate. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really highlights that dual nature of social media during a crisis. It's an undeniably powerful tool for rapid dissemination, right? News travels faster than ever. First responders, authorities, they can share critical alerts quickly.
That's the upside.
That's the upside. But simultaneously, it is an incredibly fertile ground for unverified claims, rumors, and outright fabrications. And our sources specifically include a crucial reminder here. Always verify with official news sources before resharing or speculating online.
It sounds simple, but it's vital.
It's more than vital. It's a necessary safeguard against the practical dangers of misinformation in high-profile breaking news. And we should probably delve into those dangers because they are profound. They have real-world consequences.
Okay, let's do that. What are the main dangers?
Firstly, there's the very real danger of fueling panic. Inaccurate information like false reports of multiple shooters or additional attacks that aren't happening can rapidly escalate fear and public disorder, can cause people to make irrational decisions, flee unnecessarily, or even inadvertently put themselves in harm's way. Imagine widespread panic about a non-existent threat shutting down an entire transit line.
Preventing legitimate emergency services from getting through.
Precisely. That's a tangible impact.
Right, and it's not just about panic, is it? You mentioned it can hinder investigations.
Critically important point. Yes. False leads, misidentifications flying around online, public speculation presented as fact. It can actively distract or misdirect law enforcement resources, pulling them away from genuine threats or crucial investigative paths.
Like chasing down a viral tweet.
Imagine police resources being diverted to investigate a viral tweet claiming a second gunman at a different station, when maybe it was a misidentified bystander or even an old, unrelated video being recirculated. That's precious time and manpower pulled away from securing the real scene, tracking genuine leads, or assisting victims. This isn't theoretical. We've seen it happen.
And the third danger you mentioned, particularly relevant here.
Reputational harm.
Yeah.
Yes, especially relevant given the ambiguity around Shane Devon Tamura's role. Misidentifying or slandering individuals based on unverified reports can irrevocably destroy lives, even if those individuals are later completely cleared.
If he turns out to be just a bystander,
His personal life, his professional life, could be irrevocably altered by the early, unchecked speculation and, frankly, the online mob mentality that can form. It leaves a permanent digital scar.
and the final danger.
The erosion of trust. This constant barrage of unverified content, it makes it increasingly difficult for people to distinguish fact from fiction. It breeds cynicism. It erodes trust in all sources, including legitimate news organizations and official authorities, which is damaging in the long term for a healthy public discourse.
It creates a really difficult environment for just thinking clearly, which raises an important question about what people are doing with all this information, verified or not. We see everything from, genuine attempts at digital sleuthing, trying to piece together facts, to just widespread public panic, and it brings up significant ethical considerations.
That's a crucial area to explore. The public discourse around this incident, as our sources indicate, quickly veered into those renewed debates: gun violence, mental health, broader urban safety.
Important conversations, surely.
Incredibly important conversations to have. But they often get tangled up in the immediate, raw, emotional reaction to a breaking story, sometimes before all the facts are known, leading to conclusions based on incomplete evidence, perhaps.
And what about the ethics of digital sleuthing?
That's a really tricky one, often referred to as crowdsourced investigation. When does helpful citizen journalism, maybe someone sharing crucial unedited footage or initial observations, cross the line? When does it become harmful vigilantism or an egregious invasion of privacy?
We've seen online communities get it wrong, badly wrong.
Terribly wrong.
Yeah.
In their fervent desire to help or find answers, online groups have wrongly identified individuals, leading to severe harassment, doxing, even threats, all based on incomplete or misinterpreted information. The blurred lines in a crisis are incredibly dangerous. The public's understandable desire for immediate answers has to be balanced with an absolute need for accuracy, respect for due process, and individual privacy.
It's that tension again, instant information versus accuracy.
Exactly. It's a defining characteristic of almost every major breaking news event in the digital age.
So, beyond the immediate incident itself, news like this always sparks wider conversations. It touches on deeper societal nerves. What does this incident and its intense online reaction tell us about our ongoing concerns regarding urban safety? And how does it feed into what some call the online fear cycle?
Our sources note that public discourse quickly includes those renewed debates: gun violence, mental health, urban safety, the role of social media, and panic. It's a whole cluster of anxieties, isn't it?
It really is.
There are profoundly heightened anxieties around urban safety, particularly in public transit spaces. Because subway systems, they're the arteries of city life. They represent shared, vulnerable spaces where people feel they should be safe, but where the sheer density of population can make them targets.
So an incident in one city resonates far beyond its borders.
Absolutely. An incident in New York can resonate nationwide, even globally. Because of shared vulnerabilities, the universal fear of unpredictable violence in public spaces. It creates that sense of it could happen anywhere to anyone.
And social media just pours gasoline on that fire.
It amplifies the public panic far beyond the immediate geographical location. It creates a pervasive sense of widespread threat, even if the actual danger is localized or contained. Every share, every retweet, every worried comment adds another ripple to that wave of anxiety. It makes the threat feel closer, more personal, even to people thousands of miles away. It transforms a localized event into a global psychological phenomenon in a way.
If we connect this to the bigger picture then, events like this, especially played out across social media, they become these powerful catalysts for public discourse. Important discourse, but often chaotic.
Yes, they force us to confront uncomfortable questions about societal issues, even as we're still processing the raw details of the event itself. Which raises an important question. How exactly does news like this go viral? And what does it reveal about our complex, often fraught relationship with these online fear cycles?
And the key reminder seems to be patience.
Crucial reminder. Our sources stress that investigations are still unfolding. Wait for confirmed updates. This is vital advice because it's precisely the absence of confirmed updates that often fuels the very fear cycle we see playing out online.
Can you break down that fear cycle for us?
Sure. Let's try and deconstruct it because it's a pattern we see repeatedly in real-time crises. It typically begins with an initial shock and an immediate, almost desperate search for information. When a crisis breaks, people instinctively rush to their devices, phones, computers trying to understand what's happening.
Step 1. Find information.
Right. This leads directly into step 2, an information vacuum, because official details are almost always slow to emerge. Authorities prioritize securing the scene, helping victims, starting the investigation, not immediate public announcement.
Understandable, but it creates a gap.
A huge gap. Which brings us to step 3, speculation and sharing rush in. Unverified content, raw eyewitness accounts, rumors, theories. They fill that void, often driven by intense emotion, fear, anger, concern, even a sort of perverse curiosity. And this content spreads incredibly rapidly, often shared by well-meaning individuals who just want to inform others, but without pausing to verify.
And then the algorithms kick in.
Step 4. Echo chambers. Yes, algorithmic feeds on social media are designed to show you more of what you already engage with. So if you've clicked on content related to urban crime or gun violence or even specific conspiracy theories before, the algorithm will likely feed you more of the same. It creates a self-reinforcing loop that magnifies perceived threats and confirms existing biases. If your initial search was NYC subway safety, you might suddenly be inundated with unverified claims and frightening anecdotes that amplify fear, even if official reports are scarce or contradictory.
Making the threat feel much bigger or closer.
Exactly. And finally, step 5, escalation of panic. The cycle feeds on itself. Each piece of shared, unverified content, each worried comment, each frantic post, it all contributes to a widespread sense of dread and alarm. Even if the actual localized threat has been contained or the information fueling the panic is inaccurate.
So what's the takeaway from all this?
The crucial takeaway here, as our sources really emphasize, is the imperative of patience and rigorous critical thinking. Be aware of this cycle. The investigations are still unfolding. We are not yet in possession of the full confirmed story. We just aren't. Relying on verified updates, waiting for official sources. It's not just good practice. It's absolutely essential for responsible consumption and engaged civic participation, especially in moments of crisis.
It's about resisting that first impulse to share immediately.
Exactly. Recognize that impulse and instead take that extra moment to verify. Where did this come from? Is it confirmed? Is it from a credible source? It makes all the difference.
And that's our deep dive into the incident surrounding Shane Devon Tamura and the NYC subway situation. It's certainly a powerful reminder of how quickly information spreads and why it's more important than ever to seek out verified facts in the midst of a breaking story. Next time on Trending Unpacked, we switch gears and look at the return of one of pop culture's biggest icons, Superman. A new reboot is coming, and the internet definitely has thoughts.